call to order our annual general meeting of the ADR Institute of Canada. I know there's still people out in the back getting their coffee and orange juice, and I'll invite them in, and if you're just in those back areas, tap someone on the shoulder and bring them into the room, and we'll get started. I see that. Thank you. I'm going to start with inviting Elder Garry Sue to and I'm going to see if I can do a bit of an introduction. Garry, come on up. And if you'd stand with me here. Indigenous peoples are the original occupants of this land we call Toronto, and over thousands of years they developed distinct languages, cultures, economies, and ways of life. This long history means that we're assembled in a sacred and traditional gathering place for many peoples of Turtle Island. I want to show respect for this by acknowledging that we're on traditional territory of several Indigenous nations and pay special recognition to the Mississaugas of New Credit, and by recognizing the history and contributions of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Personally, as a descendant of both Indigenous and settler ancestry, I acknowledge that we're here representing a tradition, culture, and aspiration of dispute resolution, while our national and global communities are continually struggling to find peace. We're honored to have Garry with us as an elder of the Mississaugas of the New Credit Nation, who will offer an opening blessing here in a moment. Garry's an Ojibway elder from the Mississaugas. His ancestors signed over 20 pre-Confederation treaties with the Crown, which cover most of the Golden Horseshoe. He's a veteran serving in the United States Navy. He was just regaling me with what it means to be on one of those ships when the big guns fire. It sounded terrifying, but that's part of his story. He resides in the New Credit First Nation with his wife of 40 years, enjoys spending quality time with his grandchildren. He has two sons who have followed in his vocational footsteps as electricians, and he enjoys watching what they're doing in their life as well. He's a storyteller, has welcomed chiefs, premiers, environmentalists, and many more to the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit. Garry, I have a traditional gift for you as a thank you for you being here with us, this gift of tobacco. And if you would stand with us for Garry's blessing of our time here. Garry.
Bonjour, Ojibway higan and Indigenous, magazine dodam, Mississaugan Dow, Namkagewin, Wasakabinjabam, Gunishki Babigum, Kadaka Zimwadak, Widabimshanam, Widobnishnam, Eshapejago, Bakadane, Eshapejago, and down him. Welcome, you've come far, and we've waited long. Come and sit down beside us and share in the same food that allies our hunger, so that we might rise again with one mind and one heart and one spirit. This is a song that is pre-Confederation, but its meaning is still relevant today.
Go
to sleep. Abindagego, Anakwakingaba, because the fire has been lit and the doorway is open. Abindagego, Anakwakingaba, the doorway to understanding. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Garry, Tunze, and the my people are part of the Plains Cree, and with that I thank you and welcome you to this place that the Creator has given to us. Miigwech. Please be seated. With that, which I believe might be the most profound and actually for me personally deeply satisfying opening to an AGM, I thank you, Elder Garry. Thank you, Bob, for Bob Walden has played a role in helping us make this connection today. Well, welcome to the 42nd Annual General Meeting of the ADR Institute of Canada. My name is Scott Siemens. I've had the privilege of serving as your president for the past 2 years. I declare this meeting properly constituted with quorum, being met by those physically present and by proxy. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? The information is on your tables. People have that available to them. If you'd stand, make your motion, and please give us your name so that we have our recorder can give that.
So moved, Christopher Bay.
Thank you, Christopher. I'm sorry?
I got it.
You got it? All right. Good, thank you. Anyone opposed to the adoption of the agenda as presented? That's carried, thank you. I want to share with you my President's report. There's lots of acknowledgments and lots of thanks, and there's been lots of work that's been going on. It's exciting for us to be in Toronto once again for the 42nd Annual General Meeting. A year ago when we were in Calgary, I pondered aloud what this notion of the center of the universe is, and maybe now I get it because, you know, here we are at the center of the universe, and I can feel all this gravitational pull, and even as Elder Garry told us that the fire is lit and the tent door is open, here we are. We've gathered now at the center of the universe, and I welcome you. The ADRIC board is comprised of 7 affiliate representatives, each a director on their board and elected by their membership, plus 7 representatives elected by ADRIC's corporate members. These 14 directors then have an option of appointing up to 4 directors at large to complement the skills in our group. Personally, I have a dual role. I'm actually also the president of ADR Institute of Saskatchewan and come to the ADR Canada board as their elected representative. What I'd like to do now is just introduce my fellow board members, and if they could, if they're present, and I don't believe all of them are able to be here, but if they are, would you please stand and remain standing? Naeem Antaki, based in Montreal with Gowlings. Stephen Antle, based in Vancouver, representing Bordner-Ladner-Gervais. Stephen, he's actually just finishing his term, and he's stepping down from this role, and we've got someone new joining us from BLG. Glenn Bell from BCAMI. Terry Bettiot, Vice President and President-elect, representing IMAC. Laura Bruno, and from Ottawa, from the Bruno Group. Andy Butt, Vice President, and based in St. John's, representing ADR Atlantic. We've got Mary Como, based in Calgary, representing Norton Rose Fulbright. Michael Erdl, from right here in Toronto, from ADRIO. Bill Hartnett, Calgary, Imperial Oil. Wendy Hassan, who just recently joined, replacing Chuck Smith, coming from ADR Alberta. Jim McCartney, Vice President, Director at Large from Calgary. Dave McCutcheon, here from Toronto. Jim Musgrave, our past president from Halifax. Josie Parisi, our treasurer from BDO here in Toronto. Mike Schaeffler from Toronto, representing Denton's. Jennifer Schultz from Winnipeg, representing ADR Manitoba. Ann Wallace, based in Saskatoon, as a Director at Large. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your directors. They're the ones that give leadership to this thing we call ADR Canada. Please join me in thanking them. And of course, thanks go to all those affiliates that do their work and send us these people, our corporate members that send us their representatives. We want to thank them. Speaking of corporate members, soon after the conference, ADR Canada will be launching our new corporate membership package with enhanced benefits such as discounts on arbitration administration, services, and more interaction with our regional affiliates. Jim McCartney and Bill Hartnett, you guys are both in that back corner. Would you stand now? If you're part of our corporate membership, I want you to pigeonhole these two gentlemen and ask them the great thing that they have in store for you. They may buy you a drink or a coffee. Thanks, guys. Okay, they may not buy you a drink or a coffee, but maybe you can just you can corner them anyway and find out what it is they've got in store for you. They've been working for over a year now, redefining that whole corporate membership package to figure out what that looks like and what it needs to look like to better benefit our corporate members. Of course, we're grateful to our host affiliate, that is the ADR Institute of Ontario, for working with us to identify local members with the skills we need to help create this year's program. We tried something new this year by appointing stream chairs to focus on topics for the conference. We believe it worked very well, and we think it's really going to turn out just in an excellent fashion. Regional Conference Committee members, if you're here, would you stand? I've got Heather Schwartz, Stephen Morrison, Colm Brannigan, and Michael Erdl. Are any of them here? Michael's here. Well, on behalf of that whole Regional Planning Committee, Michael, thank you very much. We also have Laurel Bruno and Dave McCutcheon, who were our National Conference Committee chairs. Thank you to those people for putting this all together. The Conference Committee is, of course, just one of ADRIC's many committees, without which ADRIC would not be progressing as rapidly as we have been these past years. Many of these individuals happen to be board members, although many are simply volunteers spread across the country. Directors of ADR Canada chair 2 or more committees, so this is truly a working board. I'd like to acknowledge some of our really, really active committees that have passed in this past year in 2016. Our Education Committee, Anne Grant, thank you very much for the work you do there. We're so appreciative to have Anne at the helm of this work. Where's Anne? I know she was here somewhere. There she is, coming back in. Thanks very much. Our Education Committee has been doing a ton of work in terms of adapting and evolving our educational products. Our Governance and Finance Committees are more internally focused, but they do great work. Our Governance Committee Chair, Jim Musgrave, right here at the end of the table, and Josie Parisi, our Treasurer, who chairs the Finance Committee, looking after all of those kind of internal workings of the organization. As I already mentioned, membership and marketing resources, Jim McCartney and Bill Hartnett, keeping us on the leading edge of what's happening there. Our Advocacy Committee, this is something we established just this past year. It's already come a long way. We've had opportunities. If you're a follower of the Wall Street Journal or the Globe and Mail, you will have seen our engagement in the public forum in terms of what's happening in the world of arbitration and mediation, and what we as the Canadian body who advocate and bring together this constituency of practitioners, we're speaking into the public forum, and we have Teddy to thank for that. For all the committee chairs, thank you for the work you do, and just know that without the endless hours that you put in, we would not be anywhere near where we are today. And now I want to acknowledge those whose work has gone above and beyond the call. These are people that have truly stepped up this past year. When I call your name, please come forward to just receive a small thank you. And Jim, I think I'm going to ask you to kind of facilitate the handing out of awards here for those that are here. 2 of the subcommittees that are on our advocacy group are especially focused. That's Media Relations and our Speakers Bureau. Mike Schaeffler, but I didn't see Mike here. I think maybe he hasn't arrived yet. Jim, you'll have to catch Mike when he gets here. You got to know that this guy at 2 a.m. is writing. He and some of the people he's got working with him over, some of his partners at Denton's, they're writing scripts for the CBC or the Globe and Mail or whatever it is. They're just really engaging on this, and I think it's just fantastic the way we've been able to engage publicly in that fashion. Angus, where are you? I don't see Angus here either. Angus Gunn. Nobody wants to get, what are we giving away? It's you. It's you, Jim. Our Arbitration Rules Committee, after launching revised and improved rules at the end of 2014, continues to ensure that they're working as they should. We're actually just doing some revisions on these as we speak. Thank you to Angus and that whole group for continuing to offer an excellent product with our arbitration rules. Mary Como, I know Mary's here. Mary, I'm going to ask you to come up. Yes? Yes, that would be you, Mary. Thank you. Our roster selection committee is led by Mary Como. She works with a team where whenever we're required to pull together a roster, these are the folks that are spending their hours, volunteer hours, trying to put the pieces together so that these rosters can work as well as they should. On behalf of ADR Canada, Mary, thank you very much for the work that you and your committee do. Oh, I think they want to get a photo of you with Jim because you're the photo people.
Okay, we'll stage it.
Pretend you like each other. That's right, you're a pair of Cape Bretoners, aren't you? Well, sort of, okay. Garry Furlong, is Garry here? I don't see Garry. Garry heads up our Mediation Designation Standards Audit and Appeal Committee. They're constantly reviewing criteria, making sure that our designations are in fact holding up the standard that we believe we want them to do. Michael Ertl, you can come on up. Our Technology Committee, chaired by Michael Ertl, been incredibly busy this past year with the implementation of our new IMUS software. We've been working in partnership with our affiliates to try and make this thing work. For those of you that are regularly engaged with our member nation portal and the work that happens there, you'll be so pleased to know that frustrating product that hasn't really served us as well as we had wished is soon to be replaced, and we're very pleased that Michael has been doing this. Michael, thank you very much for all the work that you're heading up in that regard. Bill Horton, is Bill here? I haven't seen him. He may not be here. He chairs our editorial board of the Canadian Arbitration Mediation Journal and ADR Perspectives.
Brian, you did his perspectives.
Oh, that's right. Brian is Perspective. Is Brian here? Brian's not here either. All right. These are incredible publications that these two gentlemen give leadership to together with their team, bringing in articles, bringing in perspectives from all across the country. And of course, that's a big part of our member engagement, and so we really thank them. I think maybe the last one I really want to focus on is our Roster Development Committee. So, Jim, you're going to have to give yourself an award and just, no, stay here. I'm not done with you yet. This past year, we've really worked. No, don't take his picture yet. Wait till I'm in it. Just hang on. Just hang on. I'm not done yet. I'm not from Cape Breton, but I want a picture with this man, all right? Our Roster Development Committee has engaged with our affiliate partners across the country to really think about, well, how can we better serve our consumer public, our practitioners, you members, and our corporate members in terms of the work we do. This group has engaged in a massive undertaking, and they're starting with the insurance industry, a massive undertaking to say, what can we offer the corporate consuming public in a way that really connects with our members? And so they are reaching out, personally, physically reaching out to dozens and dozens and dozens of insurance companies across the country. In connection with the affiliates, they're checking in with every affiliate to make sure that they're not duplicating work. It's an incredible undertaking, and I think it's just going to pay incredible dividends for the work that you, our members, are engaged in. So, on behalf of ADR Canada, past President Musgrave and Chair of the Roster Development Committee, thank you very much for that work.
Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate it.
While not really a committee per se, there's another agenda that's really caught in hold of the ADR Canada family, the family of affiliates across the country. And I need to recognize something called the MOU Task Force. I know Catherine is here. Wendy, Is Wendy here? Oh, there she, oh yeah, well, sitting right beside Catherine, there you are. The MOU Task Force, about 2 years ago, I was sitting in a hotel room in Calgary, or I was somewhere in Alberta, and I was on the phone with these two ladies, and we got talking about, well, how is it that this whole family of ADR affiliates across the country connects, and what does that mean for our corporate members? And we did some dreaming, and we got thinking about, well, what could this look like? And I'm going to tell this story because it's funny to at least me, but I don't know how the rest of you will feel about it. But Wendy and Catherine are some of the most gung-ho, energetic people I know, and they were on this. They said, well, we need to re-envision the memorandums of understanding that tie together this whole national, this pan-Canadian organization that is the ADR Institutes across Canada. And I remember this distinctly because I was in the hotel room, and I actually remember laughing out loud, although I hope I put the mute button on while I was on the phone with them, because they said, well, we can get that knocked out in a year. Like, by the time we get to Toronto, we'll be done. I had just come through an exercise with another organization not dissimilar from ADR Canada. It took us 5 years. It was a global engagement. And I said, oh, ladies, like, it's going to take us longer than that. This isn't something you do in a year. And they scoffed at me. They actually scorned me. They said, you don't know what you're talking about. We can get this done. So we're not done. We're targeting St. John's 2017 as a place to get this work done. But what I want to highlight is that these ladies have pulled together a group of corporate and affiliate members from across the country to reimagine what we could look like. Are we a federation of peers to co-opt government speak? Is that what we are? Are we an affiliate where we have a parochial relationship, where there's members that have a higher standing and a lesser standing? What are we, and how do we engage to one another? How do the affiliates engage to one another? This is big question. This is big work that we need to do, because it informs so much of who we are and what we do. And I personally, Catherine and Wendy, would you stand, please? I want to publicly acknowledge these two ladies. Yes, thank you. I want to publicly acknowledge them because what they're doing is something not too dissimilar from a Charlottetown Accord or a Meech Lake experience. This is not for the... Now Wendy's screaming, running in the other direction. This is not for the faint of heart. And they're doing it in a way where they're bringing everyone to the table, inviting everyone's opinion and voice so that we can have something that we believe will take us well into the decades to come. So I want to thank you for that. After our conference here, we will be experiencing the Global Pound Conference being held on Saturday in the gallery room. Is that this room? Is this the gallery room? No, that's the one upstairs. The gallery room. ADR Canada is honored to be a partner of the organizing of the hosting event. The goal and format of the GPC, that is the Global Pound Conference, is to facilitate conversations about access to justice and what can be done to improve the quality of justice in commercial conflicts around the world. It is it's a true thought leadership series, in that the GPC conferences have already taken place in Singapore, Lagos, Mexico City, New York, Geneva, and they'll be taking place in 27 other countries around the world. Toronto is the one that's happening on Saturday. It's the only Canadian event. And Teddy Bettiot, the chair of our local organizing committee, has put countless hours into that. I want to thank him. The conference engages all stakeholders in the field of dispute resolution, parties or users, service providers, advisors, influencers, people from academia, people from government. The local organizing committee, chaired by Teddy, has developed an impressive list of participants and attendees, attorney general, judges, arbitrators, mediators, and advisors and influencers from all across the country. If you haven't registered for this yet, this is a place where you get to have your voice and shape and influence the work of mediation around the world. I'd really encourage you to register. It's an extra day here in Toronto. That's not the worst thing that could happen to you. You might even enjoy it. I don't know. But you can certainly register and be a part of the GPC, and I would look forward to seeing you there. As you might have gathered, a great deal has and is happening at ADR Canada in addition to the planning of the ADRIC and GPC conferences. All the committee work and the other initiatives I've mentioned, we're fully engaged with the President's Roundtable to facilitate regular discussions with the affiliate presidents across the country, and it is out of that MOU Task Force was born. We've taken the lead on the implementation of new membership software that we'll be pleased to roll out in the coming weeks. Over the past year, many members have responded to our requests to update their profiles and received this wonderful, beautiful pin as an acknowledgement. Last year in Calgary, I said, and these pins are really sharp. And only Eric Stutzman from Manitoba got that. So I'm going to try this again. These pins are really sharp. Come on. Oh, thanks, Bob. You get the point. Good one, good one. They don't like you either. All of your profile information will be automatically transferred to the new system. But if you had uploaded documents instead of entering information such as your bio or that kind of thing, you'll need to do so in the new system again. We appreciate the forbearance as we flip over to this new member database. We believe it's going to be a huge improvement. For those who haven't completed your profile, you're missing out on a great opportunity so that the public can see you. Where rather than just searching our database, they'll be able to find more appropriate practitioners. If you're not listed, of course, you can't be seen. Congratulations to our newly designated members. These are people who've achieved their designations. We've been bragging and tweeting about some of our ADR Canada designation holders. Congratulations to all of them. We've developed a mediation arbitration task force to work on creating national guidelines for members to maintain standards and credibility. They'll also review the viability of a national Med-Arb designation, something that our members have been asking us about and something that we want to look into further. We're working with the Canadian International Arbitrators to bid for ICA 2022, the International Council of Commercial Arbitration Conference in Canada. There's work going on with folks in Vancouver to see whether that might be an opportunity, and then partnering with Calgary. We continue to form strong alliances with like-minded organizations for the benefit of our profession and members, many of which you'll see up on this slide. We've been active on social media, increasing our number of followers, and of course none of this would be possible without our remarkable staff. I want to ask the staff, are they, someone open the door, are they out there? Is that where they're hiding?
Yeah, may not hear it though.
Okay, Jim McCartney's going outside. And we have people that are busy doing all the things that they do regularly and they do well, and I want them to come in. And we'll wait for them to come in. And Janet, is Monet hiding in the corner? Oh, Monet's hiding in the corner. Monet, stand up. We have Monet and Mina. We have Janet. These are some of the people that do the work of our organization every day, and I want to publicly thank them. Janet, would you stand as well, please? Of course, there's Brenda, there's Brittany, there's Brenda back at the office. These are the people that make this place run. Would you join me in thanking them? Looking ahead, we have plenty of work to do, including a new strategic plan, revising the national mediation rules, an ADR return on investment research project that's underway. We endeavor to create much, much greater public awareness of the ADR and its benefits, because that's what we believe will change our society. Designations are having an increasingly significant role in the work we do, and I guess I'm inviting you to join us in all of this. One of the things we have to do at an AGM is some little stuff like business. I'm going to invite Josie to come up, and Josie, would you please provide us with her treasurer's report?
Thank you, Scott. Good morning, everyone. I have the pleasure of presenting the Treasurer's Report and the 2015 financial statements of the ADR Institute of Canada. The financial statements appear on the tables, and they were also emailed to you. The financial statements were audited by Neffin Winter Bigley. The auditors issued an unqualified or clean audit opinion over the 2015 financial statements. From the financial statements, the balance sheet shows a strong financial position with cash balances of approximately December 31st, 2015. In addition, the current assets amount to the liabilities of the organization, which are approximately $50,000. amounted to $610,000. This compares to expenditures of approximately $640,000 and a loss of approximately $32,000. The loss is primarily attributed to excess costs associated with last year's conference. Are there any questions regarding the financial statement? I'd like to recommend that we continue to engage Neffen Winter Bigley as our auditors for If there are no questions about the financials, I'd like someone to make a motion to accept the Treasurer's report.
And Sam will.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Josie. Is anyone opposed to the motion to accept the financial report? I think it's noteworthy that Josie just returned from Berlin, in the Berlin Marathon, where she said she had her, was it a personal worst? A personal worst. Now, what you need to know, though, is the Berlin Marathon is, traditionally holds or hosts 30,000, 40,000 runners. And because of some other things that were going on, it was a hugely successful event. There were 65,000 runners. Josie was telling me that you actually just kind of got in a pack and you just kind of moved along with the pack as you went for her personal worst time. So, congratulations, Josie. She's very proud of that.
Small point of order, Mr. Chairman. I think I moved a motion to pass the agenda today, but I don't believe your last year's 18 minutes were reviewed.
Were they in the package? Yes. My apologies. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Could I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the 2015 AGM? Mike Schaeffler will move. Is there a second? Michael Ertl, thank you. Is anyone opposed to the adoption of the minutes? Thank you. Thank you very much for that catch and that point of order. And maybe I should make a note that we operate. We believe as a board that given who we are, we should operate on a consensus decision-making model. And you'll note that we're not voting other than my asking the question: is anyone opposed? Our hope is that everything we do by full consensus. And so it's a voting style. It's a little bit different than Robert's. Maybe these are Roberta's rules of order. But I wanted to bring that to your attention. So, Jim Musgrave, I'm going to invite you forward. Jim is the chair of the Governance and the Nominating Committee, and Jim, I'm going to ask you to bring your committee report and the items of business you have for us.
Thank you very much, Scott. There are two items of business the Governance Committee is bringing to the AGM this morning. The first deals with amendments to the general bylaw. I know this is riveting for you. Notice of these proposed changes has been duly given. These amendments were recommended by ADRIC's Governance Committee after study and have been approved by the board, but require ratification today at the AGM. The Governance Committee and the board are both recommending approval. I will be running this because the bylaws require that we go to a vote. I will be running this under Robert's rules. So the first item, A, is that bylaw 9.3AI be amended to increase the president's term limit to a maximum of 3 consecutive one-year terms. The current maximum is 2, so we're going from 2 to 3. So could I have a mover to that effect? Thank you. I see Paul and Jim. A lot of people who don't want to be president, I guess. Can I ask by show of hands, all in favor of the motion? Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. I judge the required majority, and that motion is approved. B is that bylaw XVI 2C be amended to increase ADRIC signing officers up to 4 directors. The current Up to limit is 3. Can I have a mover for this motion? Michael Erdl, thank you. Seconder? Thank you, Ann Wallace. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? I judge the required majority having been met. Thank you very much. I would like to move on next to the happy part of my report. As Scott mentioned, each of the 7 regional affiliates is entitled to 1 representative on the national board. That same number, 7, is the number of corporate representatives elected by our sustaining corporate members. And then up to 4 directors in addition, bringing the total to 18, a maximum of 18, can be appointed by the board. I would like to announce the 2016-17 7 regional directors elected by their regions. I would ask them to stand as I call their name. Glenn Bell, BCAMI, British Columbia. Wendy Hassan, ADRIA, Alberta. Scott Siemens, ADRSK, Saskatchewan. Jennifer Schultz, ADRIM, Manitoba. Michael Erdl, ADRIO, Ontario. Terry Berrio, IMAC, Quebec. And Andy Butt, ADRAI, Atlantic Canada. Thank you very much. The process to elect the corporate representatives to the board is as follows. The sustaining corporate members are polled for nominations to the board from their respective organizations. Each corporate member then votes for up to 7 individuals among the list of nominees. This year, 8 individuals were nominated for 7 corporate representative positions on the national board, and an election was held. The following corporate directors have been elected for 2016-17, and if they're present, I would appreciate them standing as well. Sarah Alstom, Government of Alberta. Laura Bruno, the Bruno Group, Ottawa. Mary Como, Norton Rose Fulbright, Calgary. Bill Hartnett, Imperial Oil Limited in Calgary. Michelle Maniago, Borden Ladner Gervais in Vancouver. Jim Musgrave, Cox and Palmer, Halifax. And Michael Schaeffler, Denton's in Toronto. On your behalf, I wish to acknowledge the commitment and dedication of Naeem Alexander Antaki, Stephen Antle, and Chuck Smith, who have retired from the National Board. As for the remaining vacancies, the board will be meeting after the conference to consider recommendations for up to 4 members at large and will vote at that time. The full board will be listed on the ADRIC website and communicated by social media. Please join me in congratulating our 2016-2017 directors and in expressing our thanks to those retiring board members. See, it wasn't so bad. It's over now.
Not so bad indeed. Thank you very much, Jim. So this brings us to the conclusion of the President's report and the AGM. The last thing I want to do is publicly thank and acknowledge 2 retiring board members. As Jim alluded to, we've had some people that have finished their terms with us. Stephen Antle, who's with Borden Ladner Gervais in Vancouver, has served on this ADR Canada board since 2009. I've developed a close relationship with Stephen over these last number of years, and he's looking to do some different things in life. And he and his wife and 2 sons are planning on doing a lot of traveling. They recently made a trip to Kampuchea, to Cambodia, and spent a lot of time at Angkor Wat and doing some of the things that they just really find exciting in their life. And they're about to make a turn in what it is they do and how they engage the world. And so with that, Stephen decided he needed to step down. Stephen served the National Audit and Appeals Committee for our arbitration designations. He was on the conference committee in 2011. He was part of that MOU Task Force. And his presence and his work will be missed. Also leaving our board, is Chuck Smith, who stepped down as the Alberta representative. Chuck was and will continue to be the chair of our HR committee. Chuck just retired from, I think it was like 40 years or something like that with Syncrude Canada up in Fort McMurray. Chuck was part of that devastation in Fort McMurray and of course went through that, and together with some other changes in his life, they're going to spend time focusing on grandkids and that kind of thing in Edmonton. He decided it was time for him to step down. He will continue to chair our HR committee. Though neither of them are here, I want to thank, publicly acknowledge their work and thank both of them for the work they've done. Well, there's only 2 items left on the agenda. One is a call for any new business. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn so we can start the conference, is there anyone that has any new business? This is your organization and your opportunity to bring anything forward. All right. Seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Can someone make that motion, please? Thank you, Sam.